Hi folks, I'm working on building a new Eurorack case. I thought I'd show you my progress. I've got 2 rows of 3U, so 6U total, and I believe it's like 104 HP across. Power switch on the side, and I'm going to use Meanwell power supply, the old RT-65B. I think I've used these twice before in other cases, so kind of got it down. Here's my bus board. It'll go down there somewhere. This will go up here somewhere. And the only other thing I'm going to add to it is I bought a US panel mount USB jack. I'm going to put over on this side so I can plug accessories into it, like a light or whatever, my phone or whatever I need to plug in. So I thought I'd show you the process of building it. I'm not going to show you the woodworking part because I'm not a woodworking person. I just kind of make do. I made this already. I'm pretty proud of it. I've never made anything with angles before. It turned out okay. I put edge banding on the plywood so it covered up all my mistakes pretty well. And so I used plywood on the sides, like 1/4 inch plywood on the bottom, 1x2s here and here. And this one I had to angle off the bottom with a router, so that was kind of new to me also. And then the back is a 1x6. And I wanted this angled shape, and I put the power switch on the side, and I'm going to put the USB on the other side because I want to make it so I can turn it the other way if I really ever want to. So it could be more, like a ARP 2600 style look or whatever. And so that's that, and I showed you the power supplies. So I'm going to show you what I'm thinking about putting in it, and then I'll walk you through the wiring part. Every time I've made one of these before, I kind of do all the wiring on the workbench, make sure it all works properly before finalizing with the case. And then obviously I need to stain the case. I believe I'm going to stain it the same color as my desk and rack, which I also built. So let me show you the modules now. Okay, so here's a selection of some of the stuff I'm going to put in the case. I kind of got obsessed with the RYK Modular stuff, and I have all of them. There's the sequencer and the Night Rider, I believe, yes. And then Algo and Envy and Vector Wave and the expander. So they're going to go in there. And also I've recently gotten this RYK Synth resonant filter bank and the expander for it, which it's really cool. And these kind of are all really cool and a little funky, so I thought they went well together. I thought this would make a nice case to set on my desk if I'm wanting to do sound creation or try to come up with something different, or on my extra desk, which is what I'm setting at right now. I also recently got the Plinky, which I still need to learn, but I don't know that I'll put it in Eurorack case because it's so cool on its own with this. I love the artwork on it. It's cool. So anyway, that's kind of my idea. Also this Dreadbox Psychosis stereo mixer, it's got some built-in effects. I thought that would make a nice little mixer for all these things, some of which are stereo. As of now, that's what I'm putting in it. Obviously that changes a million times over. And as far as the Meanwell power supply, I have used it twice before in my Dreadbox case and this little case on top, which are actually the exact same wiring as the one I'm making, with the exception of these two don't have the USB port. This case, which I've done a whole video about with all the Roland stuff, that was actually a bigger Meanwell power supply, not the RT-65B. So this has USB port and case fan and a whole bunch of other stuff on it. So you can go watch that video if you're interested in learning about that. So moving on. Okay, so I'm going to show you a little bit how I wire up the case here. I'll just preface this with I'm not a professional. I do have a lot of experience doing it. I have a degree in electronics, but if you're not comfortable with messing around with electricity and stuff, then don't do it. Have somebody else do it. So what I've got here, I've got the power switch. I bought this off of Amazon. It's a little lighted rocker switch. I bought them before. It's got the hot, neutral, and ground coming out of it. And here's the Meanwell power supply. Power is off right now. I have it plugged into a power strip. And then that hooks, the L is line, that's hot, and is neutral, and the third one's ground. And then basically, I checked the switch out first. I labeled the wires because they're weird colors. I could switch them, but I don't feel like it. So I labeled them what they are so I don't get messed up. And then, you know, fingers off of stuff because electricity's going through it, but turn it on. And the power supply turns on. And then I use my multimeter to check the DC outputs to make sure they're what they're supposed to be, and they are. So that's all good. So the next step is I'll hook the bus board to it and then test that the bus board's putting out correct voltage, and then also the USB port. And I always check this on the workbench ahead of time before the case is done, and I start drilling holes in it and stuff just to make sure everything's functioning and like it's supposed to. Okay, so now I'll get out the bus board. Okay, so here's where I'm at now. I got the bus board. This bus board has these Molex connectors that you can use on either end. I didn't have to solder them on there, but I did because I had some of these cables. So I just took the cables and stripped the other end of them. I tested and made sure and labeled the positive 12, negative 12, and positive 5. And then all the black ones are ground, which all go to the same place. So I may just cut 2 of them off. But the other thing I was going to show you, and actually I built this bus board from a kit and I haven't tested it yet, so I'm also testing that. The other thing I was going to show you, since I'm using that USB port for power, I'm going to be needing to split off the 5 and the common from here for that. And so, I mean, one could just twist the wires together, solder them, something really messy like that. But I bought these when I built my big Roland case. These are terminal blocks, and so it's just like a neat, clean way of wiring things together. And they come with these little things for chaining them all together. So you screw them in to one side, and then basically all of them are connected. So I'm going to use one for the common. It's going to go from that to that, and then all the commons will go to that, including the one from the USB port. And then they have these little covers on them. I took that one off. Then the other one, I'll put this on there. That'll be the 5 volts from the power supply. Then it'll hook to the 5 volt rail on the bus board and also hook to the USB port for power. Okay, I'm back. So I've got it all wired up. So as you see, my bus board LEDs are lighting up. Nothing's smoking. I'm not touching anything because there's open voltage right here. So over here, the back side, that's AC. Definitely don't want to touch that. And then there's all the DC. I've got the common going to that splitter, or that terminal block hooked to all the grounds currently, and the 5 volt going to this one, and currently it's just hooked to the 5 volt line, and then the plus 12 and minus 12 going directly to the power supply. When I do this for real, I'll put spade connectors on all the things, tie the wires down and make it look nice. So now I'm just going to use the multimeter on my bus board just to make sure the voltages are right where they're supposed to be. And if they are, I'll move on to trying out the USB port because that's the last thing. Okay, USB port a success. This glowing, annoying light in your face. I just basically had to look up what the pin out of USB port is, and it's just the red's the 5 volts and the black's the common. So I just stripped it back and hooked those two to the 5 and common. Now I need to clean it up big time because it's a giant mess, but it is working. So far, so good. So I think this is a success. I would say everything's working, and I'm going to take it all apart. And the next step, I need to drill a hole for the USB port, and then I'll start staining the case. So probably when I come back, it'll look a lot more finished. All right, welcome back. As I said in the previous clip, I'm all done with the staining and polyurethaning. Starting to put it together. Got the USB port and power switch. The bottom is not screwed on currently, so I can wire it. So here's where I'm at. I mounted the power supply there. I already wired up the AC input. Got my terminal blocks here, and I mounted all this. And I'm starting to put on some of these fork spade things to hook it all up. So I'll get that going on and then show you the results. Okay, we're all wired up. I have not cleaned up the wires yet or covered them up, but you can see here the plus and minus 12 volt, they go directly to the bus board. The AC inlet goes to the power supply. The common goes to the steel on the right, terminal block, and the 5 volt goes to the one on the left. And then the commons and the 5 volts from the bus board go there as well. And then over here is the USB jack, which I split off. I had to use the tiny little connectors for those because there's little tiny wires, but it did work. And they go to the terminal blocks as well. And since you can see there's a light. So I'm going to do a more ultimate test for the USB jack. Unplug that, and I'm going to plug in my BeatStep Pro. This is the first time plugging in something that actually costs money, so here we go. Yay. All good. It is working. Okay, so next up, I'll plug the light back in so we can see. Next up, I'm going to, clean up the wires, zip tie them and stuff, and cover the terminal blocks with their little covers, and cover the power supply. This is a little DI 3D printed. I got it off the internet for free. This is actually the third or fourth time I've printed one of these. Our library has a free 3D printers to use, so that's what I did yesterday. And that just, you take that set screw out of the bottom of the power supply, and this goes over it perfectly, and then you put it back. So that way you don't drop stuff on it and electrocute yourself. And then I guess I'll try it out with some modules. Dun dun dun. Probably a cheap module just to make sure. Okay, all done. So that's what it looks like with the cover on the power supply. So if you were to ever do this, there's a tiny screw, it's like at the bottom down there, that's like part of the power supply that you take out and put it through the hole in the cover. There's two like washer-like things on it, and you have to take one of them off or somehow use thinner plastic on the printing. So anyway, that was a royal pain because they're like stuck on. I had to cut it off. Other than that, I just zip tied some stuff to keep the wires together and put rubber feet on the bottom. So I think we're ready to take it inside and put some stuff in it. All right, here we are in the studio. So as you can see, I got a bunch of stuff in there. We got the RYK Modular stuff, all the top, and then the sequencers on the bottom. And then I got the RYK Synth resonant filter bank and the expander and the Dreadbox Psychosis. Everything's working great. Only issue I had, the rails were a little tight, especially on the end. I don't know if like these are kind of close together for the 3M screws or what, but I made it work. And also probably stand to have shaved the lip of this wood off the bottom, but it all fit fine. It's just these, I think the RYK panels are a little thicker and the holes have a little less give to them. It's like this Dreadbox thing went in easy peasy, so whatever. It works, I made it work. So I got this empty space. I'm thinking about, well, I'll show you my modular grid screen. I'm thinking about putting in my Soundforce modules because it would fit nicely and they all look cool. Here, they're right here right now, but I'll have to do some rearranging. I think I might do that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my tour, and hopefully the background music the whole time was from this, because that's my intent. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye.